Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality, and today I have two more vintage fall sewing pattern junk journals to show you. I was inspired by Amy at Kitty Witty Papercraft here on YouTube and also on Instagram to make some vintage pattern junk journals, and she does an amazing job on hers. And I just absolutely fell in love with them. So I went through my vintage pattern stash and found some that were perfect for fall. I just released a back to school themed one in my Etsy shop that is up right now. These are also now up in my Etsy shop. So go ahead and check out the link down below. Also follow me over on Instagram, as I always post when I have new videos up, new crafty tutorials, and also when I have new items in my Etsy shop. So let's go ahead and check these out. I have one of this style, and it is a 1968 pattern by McCall's. And then I have two of this style. It's the same pattern, different sizes I believe, but it is from 1972. And each of the journals have different vintage papers in them, but they are similar as far as the layout goes. Both of these are one signature, and they have about 62 pages front and back approximately. The spine is 1 inch, and the spine is made out of cardstock, scrapbook paper, and then the actual vintage pattern envelope. And then I used the back of the envelope on the back of the junk journal itself. And so let's go ahead and start with this one on this side. I love the image of this vintage pattern. I love the 60s hairstyles and just the cute little cape jackets. I just think that's adorable. And that 70s pattern is just, I don't know, it's just classic, I think. So on the outside here, the signature is sewn in with a pamphlet stitch and embroidery thread. And then I went ahead and just tied some vintage fabric, a couple different ones. There's this quilted pattern, and then the brown, like calico kind of fabric, and then just some orange and white chevron ribbon and some orange fat yarn. And then it is tied up with the fat yarn, and it comes completely off, but I have it double, like wrapped around a couple times. All right, so we go ahead and open it up, and it has pocket. I have some plaid fabric here. I made a tag with a paint chip, added some tea stained paper on the back of that so that you could use that as a journaling card. This is a Betty Crocker recipe card from the 70s for some apple pie or apple pandowdy. Not sure why it's called that, but it looks delicious. And then I added some pom-pom trim on the side there. Here's a little tuck spot and an old seed packet there. This is a vintage 70s apple seed catalog. And this is from a 70s sewing and fabric catalog. This is from one of the grocery store stamp collection booklets. And then here is like a coupon that was from that Fabrizar fabric catalog. Some scrapbook paper. I made this vintage zipper pocket. If you'd like to see how I made that, I'll link the tutorial down below. Here's part of the instructions of the pattern. I did a little fabric flip with this vintage fabric. This was actually from my mom's sewing cabinet. It's another catalog page. I made a little pocket here. This is a vintage card, and this is an image from a book, vintage book there. And then another one of those paint chip tags. This is some of the fabric that came with that catalog. That came with like a sample squares. I did sewing throughout, used vintage fabric and laces. This was from that fabric book. I just made a pocket with it, added a layaway tag, altered tag there. Here's another card, Ways with Turkey. I thought that was perfect for fall. I did a little ruffle sewn there. This was, I fussy cutted some images out of that catalog to add just some die cuts throughout the book. And here is a vintage workbook page. This was from a 1970s fondue recipe book. And then I did some eco dyeing. If you'd like to see that video, I will link that down below. So I thought I would include that page, one of those pages in here. This is a vintage hook and eye little card that I decorated, and I added a pocket on the back. I won't take that off, but there's a pocket that I made with some of the brown fabric. This is an old Yellow Pages from when I was a kid in the 70s. I found that at my mom's house, so I thought I would include one of those pages in here. Another workbook page. Here's another card. It's for autumn soup. This is some wallpaper. It's vinyl from one of the houses I lived in. My mom kept scraps of it, I guess just for in case she needed to fix it on the wall if it was coming off, but I just thought that was perfect. The other side of that envelope, and I added an index card and some Monopoly money in there. And then here's a little belly band with Monopoly money. The other side of that catalog page. This is old grid paper from elementary school. Here is a vintage book page piece that's Peter Pumpkin Eater, and that was a 70s book as well. Some old handwriting paper, and then here is another piece of scrapbook paper and a tuck spot, and then this is the last page. I just stuck an old music book page in there, and there's the back. So there's that one. I love how this turned out. Hopefully you do as well. This one is the pattern from 1972. It's tied up the same way. It has about the same amount of pages. So let's go ahead and dive into this one. Here is the inner pocket there with paint chip tag. I only had a couple pieces of this paper, but I thought it was perfect for the 70s with these circles. It's kind of like a mid-century modern sort of pattern, but I added a fussy cutted piece out of that catalog. Here's more of that vintage wallpaper, the layaway tag. This is a piece from that seed catalog, and then the sewing fabric catalog, Fabrizar. Here's another piece of the stamp book. Here is Ways with Peppers. It's a seasonal favorite in the fall, evidently. I actually remember my mom making stuffed peppers like that as a kid. 1972 was the year I was born. This is a little pocket here, and then it's an envelope. I added another paint chip tag there. Another image from that catalog. This was from the catalog as well. I just decided to include that in the pocket there. It's another little fabric swatch. Coupon. Here's an old 70s nature book that had like the pumpkin on it. Different. I just like the colors of the pages. I thought it went well with this book. It's another zipper pocket. Fondue book page. Here is the Eco Dyed page, and then another vintage playing card. Here is fresh apple pie recipe card. Another pocket. Here is another page from that Yellow Pages. Here's a snap fastener card. Thought that was, the colors were perfect for this. Then I added a pocket on the back there. I'll stick some small little things in there before I send it out. This pocket is some vintage fabric of Peter Pumpkin Eater little poem. And then here's the last page in the back there. So I hope you like these new journals. Hopefully it will give you some inspiration if you've been wanting to make your own vintage pattern junk journals. Check out the Etsy link down below if you're interested in buying these. And also go over to Instagram and follow me over there. It's at Creative Crafticality. Check out Amy with Kitty Witty Papercraft because she is awesome and she inspires me so much. So hope you like this video. Give me a thumbs up if you did. Leave me a comment and subscribe, and I'll see you again next time. This is Kim with Creative Crafticality. Bye. God bless.